welcome to the 4th edition of The Foam Finger. I'm one of your hosts, Ramsey, joined again by my co-host, Serge, on the West Coast. Serge, say what's up to everybody.
What's good, everybody?
All right, and straight into the news here. We're going straight into the 3rd week of preseason football in the NFL, which pretty much is absolutely meaningless. But it is pretty fun to, every once in a while, just take a look at what the teams are doing, how everybody's looking. Serge, what do you think about how some of the teams are performing in this preseason?
You know, there haven't been any big surprises. There hasn't been any big momentum-changing effects. There hasn't even been any big injuries. I'm quite surprised. I think teams this year, more than any other year, or maybe it's the players because of the collective bargaining agreement, the possible lockout, and all this stuff that's going on, they're all taking it a little bit easier than normal, than they have in previous years, rather.
Yeah.
So, there hasn't really just been anything of note so far this preseason.
Well, I'm kind of with you there. I mean, a lot of the things that I got on my little list are really small, minor things. I was pretty impressed with the way Aaron Rodgers, quarterback with Green Bay, played. I mean, looking pretty solid. The Vikings may not be able to sweep them again this year. But my favorite point on my list, and you may be shocked to hear this, is how the Jets' offense is looking like absolute garbage. I mean, I think Mark Sanchez on his last game, like 5 of 12 for like a pathetic amount of yardage. I mean, what do you think about the Jets?
You said that might surprise me.
Yeah.
You talking shit about the Jets never surprises me. You hate the Jets. You hate the Jets with a fiery passion. You hate the Jets.
I just like to see them squirm. So seeing them perform this poorly in preseason football is just makes me feel damn good.
I look at it like this. This is the 4th edition of the Foam Finger, and in 4 editions, you have mentioned how much you've hated the Jets every week.
And that will not change, I can guarantee it.
So, for you hating the Jets, no, that doesn't surprise me. Their offense, that doesn't surprise me either. Rob Ryan is their coach.
Yeah.
As a Raider fan, we've had to deal with Rex Ryan, so...
True. I mean, yeah, defensive-minded coach. I mean, I don't know. I guess their offense is just really slacking because their defense has been looking pretty good. But, hell, I mean, I'm sorry. In today's NFL, defense doesn't win games anymore. It's offense. So
no, defense can still win a game.
It helps, but it ain't going to do it anymore.
Yeah, it's not 2001, 2002 where
a smash mouth offense and a resilient defense isn't going to win a game anymore. All right, moving right along because of a very slow NFL preseason. Tiger Woods. Do we see a possible resurgence in Tiger Woods after a very poor performance? Serge, what do you think?
Tiger, how do I put this? I feel bad for Tiger, okay? I'm probably a very, very small minority of people that say they feel bad for Tiger Woods. I mean...
$1 billion, yeah, I gotta, poor guy, man.
he just had to give up 100 mil to the ex.
Ooh, poor baby.
That's a tough pill to swallow. I don't care how rich you are. 100 mil, that's a tough pill.
Yeah.
Because he went and slipped his Tiger into other girls. Well, ever since that day, our boy Tiger, he hasn't really performed as well, and he's getting called out by this little McElroy kid.
Yeah.
Kind of trying to speak some game to Tiger. This kid needs to win, some majors before he really starts talking to Tiger.
Oh, yeah.
He's not even he can't even carry Tiger's golf bag yet, let alone, try to say that he's better than Tiger Woods.
Yeah. The way I look at it is Tiger has been probably the most elite golf player for how long? He hasn't forgotten how to play golf all of a sudden, He's in a funk, but I'm sorry, when the guy gets out of it, and he looks like he's coming out of it right now, he's going to be still one of the greatest golf players to ever play the game. Moving straight in, big deal that happened, as we discussed in the last edition of the Foam Finger, Scottie Pippen, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, in my opinion, was finally inducted into the Hall of Fame, and the Chicago Bulls announced that they were going to honor him by erecting a statue in his honor in front of the Bulls Arena. What do you think, Serge?
You said erect.
No pun intended, of course.
No pun intended. It's a long overdue. It's a very long overdue honor. Scottie Pippen is one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball. He gets almost none of the credit for Chicago's 6 championships. Oh well, no, correction. He gets credit, but he doesn't get enough of the credit.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with Scottie Pippen for me was he was always stuck in such a big shadow, the biggest shadow ever cast in basketball by Michael Jordan. But if I'm putting my money on the table, I'm putting Scottie Pippen as the greatest defender in NBA history. I mean, I'm willing to put that out.
I mean, that's a very, very, very tough pill to throw out there. Yeah,
it's tough, but I mean, look at the track record. He shut down some of the greatest offensive players in the NBA. Shut them down, and possibly without him, they wouldn't have had those 6 NBA national titles. I mean, he shut down Stockton. I mean, this is not an easy feat, and he was able to do it. Could Jordan have done it defensively? I doubt it.
Well, Jordan in his prime could shut down any player in the entire NBA.
Yeah.
Past, present, or future. Jordan in his prime, I mean, Jordan is the best there is, the best there was, and the best there will ever be in the sport of basketball.
No, absolutely. But I mean,
I say that as
he took that load off of Jordan by Pippen being able to do that, and Jordan was able to do, you know, so many other things. So I mean, Scottie Pippen, a man who deserves immense respect from everyone in the NBA community. Definite big congratulations to him. Long overdue honors. Moving straight into some often neglected sports here on the Foam Finger, we got to talk about professional fighting, boxing, and UFC. And no bigger argument has been boxing versus UFC. And it's pretty funny because we've talked about this beforehand, Serge and I, and we seem to be on very opposite ends of the spectrum here. Serge being a UFC fan, me being a boxing fan. But before we get into it real quick, I'm going to throw my comments down before Serge has a chance to tear into them. I've always been a boxing fan, big-time boxing fan, ever since I was a little kid. Seeing all these title fights is absolutely fantastic. And I am one of the few boxing fans that will admit boxing is dying. And the reason that boxing is dying, and I will put the blame on one person, and I know so many people are going to disagree with me, is Floyd Mayweather. And it's not necessarily because of Floyd Mayweather, but because of people like Floyd Mayweather. They go in there and they have hand-picked fights. And you watch these horrible fights that it's just 12 rounds of agony. For the first time ever, I didn't bother watching a major fight in Floyd Mayweather versus Sugar Shane Mosley because I knew the outcome. I knew Floyd Mayweather was going to dance around for so many rounds and win in the Letterman and win a technical knockout. It is bullshit. Floyd Mayweather is suffering because of this. The only hope that professional boxing has to stave off this miserable flow of technical fighters is the fight of all fights. Manny the Pac-Man Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. Now, a lot of people are going to say Pac-Man is a punk because he doesn't submit to the testing. I say Floyd Mayweather is afraid to fight the Pac-Man because for the first time ever, he's not faster than him, he's not stronger than him, and he's not smarter than him. And that scares a person like Floyd Mayweather who has hand-picked fights every day of his life. It's that X factor that's terrifying him. And until that fight comes around, I put down a solemn promise. I will not spend a dime to watch another professional boxing match until it's the Pac-Man versus Floyd Mayweather. So, Serge, I know you're going to take offense to a lot of what I just said. Go for it.
The reason that boxing is failing is because, well, it's corrupt. The system is corrupt. The judges are corrupt. The referees are corrupt. The promoters are corrupt. The boxers themselves are corrupt. You know, Don King is probably more responsible for the decline and death of boxing than anybody else in the history of the sport. Manny Pacquiao needs to stop acting like a little bitch and submit to the Olympic testing, you know, which is within, you know, Floyd Mayweather's rights to say, you know, stop bitching about the testing, you know, test before, test after. You know, this whole, oh, it takes power away from me. Quit whining like a little bitch. I mean, I want to take his man card. That's how much I think he's a little bitch. You know.
I'm sure he'll fight you for it.
No, he won't, because I'll tell him he needs to submit to the testing. You know, Mayweather may not be faster, but Mayweather is stronger. You know.
That's a stretch, dude. Don't go that far.
All of this is mute because boxing is not anywhere near as good as the Ultimate Fighting Championship, MMA. MMA is on the rise. MMA is the future. You know, you got, hell, this weekend, boxing lost its own person to MMA. You know, James Lights Out Tony, former champion in 3 different weight ranges. You know, this man was at one point one of the baddest men on the planet. You know, he is now a UFC fighter, and he is fighting Randy Couture this weekend. Granted, Randy Couture is going to whoop that ass like he's never had his ass whooped before, but, you know, UFC is where it's at, because UFC, you can use boxing, you can use martial arts, you can use wrestling, you can use jiu-jitsu. You know, there's so many different methods that make UFC, you know, more legitimate and more entertaining to watch.
Absolutely. I think the one thing that we will agree on is, I don't doubt it for a second, boxing is on the decline. I'm the first one to say it. And I think we do agree that it's the politics behind boxing that's really taking it down. Because as a sport, it's still entertaining as hell to watch and everything, but it's just all this crap that goes along behind the scenes. It's these boring matches that are just really pissing people off. And it's given, I mean, I don't follow UFC, I really never have, but given it is far more exciting to watch a UFC fight or an MMA fight than it is to watch a standard boxing fight now. It's just, it's depressing as hell. I mean, it's one of the oldest sports on the face of the earth, and it's dying now. And on that bombshell, we move on to another political back end of a beloved sport, the NFL. Now, it's been recently proposed that the NFL take 2 preseason games and add it to the regular season schedule, meaning the regular season will be 18 games long. Now, on the surface level, and Serge and I were talking about it, this is great. It's more regular season football, which is beautiful. But you really got to look at the back end and what this means for so many things. And it's something that Serge had briefly mentioned before, the CBA, the Collective Bargaining Agreement. Now, this is going to be major leverage for the players, because they're going to come in and say, hey, that's 2 more regular season games. That's more opportunities to get injured. That's more time that we have to play. So what do you think, Serge? Could possibly moving the schedule to 18 games for the regular season be a hindrance to the CBA? How do you think this is really going to affect the NFL?
Well, what it all boils down to is the owners versus the players. Yeah. You know, will the owners give up that extra, you know, cheese, essentially? You know, will they give up that extra piece of cheese to the players that have to put their bodies and their lives on the line every single week, you know, for that franchise? If the owners have ever showed anything, it's that they're kind of greedy when it comes to that. The owners would prefer to pay the players shit and reap all of the benefits. So, you know, do I think that there will be a problem with this? Big time. The players don't want to play 2 more games a year for the same price. You know, they want more money.
Yeah.
Which they're very entitled to it.
Yeah, I mean, just like any job, you're doing more work, you expect more pay.
Exactly. So, what do I see happening in the near future? Well, I think that this year is going to be a very, very tough time. I pray to God that they get the CBA under control by the end of the season, because I do not want a lockout next year.
You and me both, man. And finishing up with all that political scandal and intrigue, that is our 4th edition of the Foam Finger. Serge, say peace out to everybody, Serge.
Peace out, everybody.
All right, and on that, stay manly, everyone.